no is my superpower. I was fortunate enough to grow up at a time when superheroes emerged, and every superhero has an alter ego. Batman's alter ego was Bruce Wayne, a charismatic ladies' man who really didn't have any superpowers, but was cool enough to live in that Batcave, become a great detective, and of course made the list of superheroes. Superman's alter ego was Clark Kent, a reporter for the Daily Chronicle newspaper. Superman had several superpowers: strength, invulnerability, heat vision, and of course, his ability to fly. But my favorite superhero, it was Wonder Woman, AKA Diana Prince. Wonder Woman was beautiful, bold, brave. She was that warrior princess with combat skills to match and a lasso of truth. Now, every little girl wanted to be Wonder Woman. But as I watched these characters on television, I realized they had some things in common. They fought for others, but more importantly, they fought for themselves. They fought for their dignity. They fought for their self-respect. They fought for the right to say no. Straight up, no. As a child, I was fortunate enough to live on a street where we all looked out for each other. If I lost my door key, I'd just go down to a neighbor's house and wait until my older sister Treese came home. But we also were taught morals and values. I couldn't speak unless spoken to, and I better had my tail in the house before the street lights came on. But my parents also told us that we couldn't say no to an adult under any circumstance. That was considered disrespectful. Now, as I matured, of course, some things changed. I didn't care whether anybody asked for my opinion. I gave it to them anyway. And that whole streetlight thing, well, you know I started staying out way after the streetlights. As a matter of fact, I was sneaking in the house the next morning when the sun was already out. But the fact that I couldn't say no to an adult, well, that changed slightly also. At this point in my life, I couldn't say no to anyone. Well, almost anyone. You see, every superhero has a secret. I would call it a weakness. And I would have done anything to keep people from knowing. That was a mom, an educator, an aunt, a sister, and a friend. But striving in perfection for all of those roles simultaneously, one night led me to an epiphany. As I was trying to fall asleep, most likely suffering from my migraine headache, because I get them all the time, I heard a voice say, "Girl, the fact that you can't say no, that's your kryptonite." I turned on that light. I looked around the room. I looked in the closet underneath the bed, because I knew somebody was punking me. But after searching, I realized that voice I heard, it was mine. The funny thing about the word no, I said it all the time when I was parenting my son and my niece. As a matter of fact, I said no so often to them that on the rare occasion I did say yes, the look of shock appeared on Joshe and Shanae's faces first. Then hesitation for fear that I truly didn't mean it. You see, I was like James Evans in Good Times, always saying no before they can get the questions out of their mouths. But saying no to children, that was the easy part. See, they're kids. That was easy. But saying no to others, that was still my silent torture. Now, the word no is a simple word. It only has 2 letters, 1 syllable. According to Webster's dictionary, the word no means a refusal, denial, absolutely not, and not one. People use the word no universally. In English, Italian, Spanish, we say no. The French will say non. Dutch will say nee. And of course, that list goes on. But if you're from around the way, we had our own way of saying no. We said nope, nah, nada, no way. And of course, my favorite, but you have to do the head nod with it, I'm good. As an educator, I was mandated to enact policies that did not have any benefits for my children. Policies such as increasing class sizes or allowing the children to learn virtually even after the pandemic ended made my stomach turn. But day by day, I did exactly what I was told. One day in a meeting, as we were discussing some problems that we were having, I raised my hand and asked, do you have any alternatives for my children? You see, my children were ones who were deemed at risk. The children that the education system failed to educate. My supervisor looked at me with a look I had never seen before and said, you do as I say. I did the next best thing. I raised my hand again and asked another question. And I said, does that statement only refer to me? Or does it refer to everyone in this room who also asked a question? I realized I wouldn't have anybody in a red cape who would swoop in that moment and save me, defend me. So I had to become my own superhero. But the biggest question would be, how? The path to a no way of thinking, it wasn't an easy one. According to Psychology Today, people are reluctant to say no due to 3 reasons: the fear of isolation, the fear of rejection, and the fear of conflict. Everyone wants to be accepted. Every quarter, we had to provide an update to my supervisor. And that morning, I was excited. I had on my principal's outfit, the heels that matched, and I know I was cute. About 30, 45 seconds in, I heard a voice say, this is stupid. Why are we listening to her? Let's move on. I looked at her, and I saw the look in her face that had puzzled me before. It was the look of my arch enemy, my nemesis, the person who had stomped on my voice and rendered me voiceless, the person who would not allow me to say no. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, no, you do not have the right to talk to me like that. Absolutely not will I ever allow you to make me feel like I am not enough. As I turned around, I knew all eyes were on me, but I didn't care. See, at this point, it didn't matter to me whether I was going to be isolated, rejected, or in conflict with anyone. Heavy is the head that wears this crown. And I was willing to stand alone. But something in me changed instantly. That part of me that was afraid to say no, it died that day. And I dug a hole and buried it 6 feet under, never to be heard or seen again. Now, I am the one that my sister will call when she needs help saying no. Me, the person who is afraid to say no, is now her superhero. And I will come to her defense every single day. So when she asks, I just tell her, tell them no. Tell them no way. Girl, you better tell them absolutely not. I even offer to say it for her. So the next time someone diminishes you or tries to turn your light off, stand up, Be bold, be brave when you look them dead in the eyes. When you tell them no, absolutely not, no way. Grab hold onto your superpower. And I promise you, you will become the next superhero.